Hi everybody, my name is Rob Scott from UC Today, and in this session I'm joined by the SAP Digital Interconnect team, and in this talk we'll be discussing how CPaaS helps to enable seamless customer experience. So today I'm joined by Rohit Tripathi, the Chief Product Officer at SAP Digital Interconnect. I'm joined by Pekka, Porkka, Head of Development for Contact Center Products and Services, and finally I'm joined by Kris Hayes, VP and Head of Sales for the Americas region. So welcome everybody.
Hi, Rob.
Very much.
Well, good to have you here, and thanks for joining me. Really interesting discussion today. So, first of all, Rohit, I think the best place to start would be with a quick introduction. Would you mind telling us who SAP Digital Interconnect are and a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. And hello to all the viewers, and glad that you could join us, at least virtually in these times. SAP Digital Interconnect is an end-to-end business unit, part of SAP. What we do is, our mantra is simple. We connect everyone, everything, everywhere. And when I say everyone, everything, everywhere, we literally do that. We have over 1,000 plus mobile operators connected as part of our messaging capabilities. We reach over 99.5% of global mobile subscribers. And what we provide are CPaaS capabilities and communication solutions for mobile operators and enterprises globally. To put it in perspective, we have over 1,500 plus enterprise customers. 21 of the top 100 most valued global brands use us. 2 of the 3 most valued global banks use our services, and 3 of the top 4 payment gateways, e-commerce providers use our services. For us, again, the vision and the mission is to make enterprises connect better and seamlessly with their end customers, and in some cases, their customers' customers. For me, as part of this organization, I'm the Chief Product Officer. I head our product portfolio, which covers both mobile operators as well as enterprises. I have a background in enterprise software, been in this industry for nearly 22 years in various roles. And I'm delighted to continue to work and expand customer success in this space. Thank you.
Thanks, Rohit. That's brilliant. Pekka, would you like to do a quick intro?
Yes. Hey, my name is Pekka Porkka, Head of Development for the Contact Center Products and Services at SAP Digital Interconnect. Been in the ICT industry for the past 25 years, in contact centers the past 20 years, roles spanning from product management, marketing, to development of different software and cloud services. Looking forward to our conversation.
Great, thank you. And Kris?
Hi, my name is Kris Hayes. I cover sales and sales engineering for North and South America. My background has always been in technology and communication technologies. I spent 14 years at one of the largest providers of telecommunication services in America, where I work with SMBs all the way up to enterprise-sized customers, transforming their telecommunications networks and platforms and methodologies and modalities on how they can interact with their customers. And I've been with SAP for almost 5 years now, interacting and creating scalable solutions for communicating with customers or with various modalities that we have out there. So technology has been my background for almost 20 years.
Thanks, Kris. So we've got a great panel of people today for this discussion point. And, to kick this topic off, how about, Rohit, we start with, what is the role of CPaaS in customer experience?
Absolutely. I mean, well, even before we get into CPaaS and customer experience, let's just always, for me as a product person, I like to think of myself as a consumer of services. And I mean, look at us here today. We are covering 4 time zones, 3 countries, and we are interacting, on a channel that is not our preferred means of interaction. We would have just loved to come together in person and have this conversation, and maybe with our viewers. But this channel also has an extreme advantage of scale. Right? We are now able to reach and have a virtual conversation with viewers across the globe. Um, and so if you look at today's times, right, like the new normal, so to say, um, it means that we have to all adapt and learn, right? And we are doing so in our personal lives. I'm having video calls more often with my parents in India, with my family here in the US otherwise, and we're getting all acclimated to that. And I think the same applies to our enterprise customers. They need to make sure that uh, they need to connect much more with their end customers, their customers in these times, right? And using uh, easy to reach channels where the customers are present, rather than forcing people to come to their an enterprise's preferred channel. Meet the people where they are, right? And which means it could be SMS, it could be email, it could be social channels, right? And I think that's what a good customer experience is. Reach out and meet your customer where they are present. And then for CPaaS market, it's extremely important for providers like SAP Digital Interconnect or other CPaaS providers to have easy to program APIs that can be incorporated in their solutions, right? And one could think of building your bespoke custom solutions, or you could think of building or having like a packaged end-to-end solution provided. That's something that I think my colleague Pekka is very passionate about. I don't know, what's your view on that, Pekka?
Yeah, so if you consider CPaaS as a collection of building blocks, so of course you can think of building your own solution using these building blocks and leveraging the CPaaS APIs, or you can take an end-to-end solution already pre-built using these APIs. But definitely in the context of customer experience, CPaaS can bring several benefits. First of all, like you mentioned, it supports the multi-channel, even though not in person, but multi-channel interactions. And with the ability to switch and enrich during the customer interaction. For example, typically you start up with the web chat, having the conversation with the bot, and then you are transferred to a live agent. Then the agent gets bored with typing, enriches the interaction with the voice or video, and then probably taps it into the customer insights, what they have about the customer, perhaps starts or initiates any service or sales process which is provided or residing in an integrated CRM system, so on. So this multi-channel capability is one thing. And then secondly, with the CPaaS as a technology, as a cloud technology, that means that your service organization can leverage the expertise across the front office and back office, independent of where the people or individual experts are located. And this is what we call the physically distributed, logically centralized service model. And the entire organization with CPaaS is then equipped and, of course, incentivized to contribute to the customer experience and drive the customer satisfaction even when working from home, which is very relevant during these days. And thirdly, I still want to mention that one of the key aspects of CPaaS with its open APIs is also that you can integrate and build a portfolio of self-services, which then allows you as an enterprise reduce cost and automate the routine inquiries using AI and machine learning. But maybe Kris has some further insights into this.
Here comes the sales guy, the one guy that everybody loves to hear from. Let me just try to do a little bit of a summary to put it into terms of what we're seeing in the market. One, CPaaS is scalable. And I think that's the most important thing that if you look at what Rohit was talking about, what Pekka was talking about, there's a lot of channels that you have access to. There's a lot of different cool things you can do from a communications technology perspective. But you don't necessarily need all of them at that particular time when you start to develop your unique brand of customer experience leveraging CPaaS. So it's scalable. You can take any one of those communications channels and create a full portfolio of communication methodologies like Pekka was talking through, or just take one of them like SMS and integrate that into your existing strategy right now to help your experience evolve. So CPaaS really allows for that scalable, multifaceted approach to interacting with your customers. The thing to keep in mind is the methodologies that your customers have traditionally interacted with your business are continuing to evolve. Social is one of the latest evolutions of that type of integration when it comes to messaging or communicating with your customer base, whether it's internal or your external customers. Because remember, developing a CPaaS solution isn't just about reaching out to your customers, but your internal employees and others that are inside that need to interact with other groups. So developing a strategy that allows you to integrate the channels that are most important to your internal and external customers, create it in a seamless way, and then be able to scale it is going to ensure that your customer experience is best in class. And I think that's one of the most important things to keep in mind is that your customer experience should be forefront of any type of CPaaS strategy you deploy. And by creating this ecosystem of scalability and then ability to adjust the methodologies inside of your communications platform will ensure that your customer experience is exactly what you want it to be, because you can form it and create it and mold it to be exactly what you want it to be.
So, Kris, that's interesting because just yesterday, I was attending this this webinar on. It was completely unrelated topic. It was about like how to lead a better life, right?
Mm.
And when, of course, or one of the big elements is income, right? Yes, we all need money, right? And it is extremely important, but we also know that studies have shown that beyond a point, your happiness level just plateaus out, or it sometimes may even decrease with income, right? So money is not the answer always. And interestingly, if you keep money constant, one of the biggest factors for personal or an individual's happiness is connecting with others.
Mm.
Right? And it just means that connecting on various channels, right? It didn't say that, look, you always need to go and meet the person or have people over. It just meant like connect. And it doesn't mean like connect with only 3 people, right? Or 4 people, but on all that. And I think that's interesting. Look, why would the same not apply for a company, for an enterprise? Because it's also, in my view, in some sense, a living, breathing organism, right? It needs to interact and touch. And so I think that's an interesting perspective on connections and why CPaaS is probably a big factor of driving customer happiness. I don't know, Pekka, if maybe we should have a happiness coefficient for companies as well.
Sure.
Kris, you touched on it a moment ago around developing a CPaaS strategy, but I mean, there's a lot to this, isn't there? Because we're talking omni-channel, lots of channels. We're talking lots of complexity potentially as well. How do enterprises kind of get on that journey to, from where they are today to that holy grail of a true connected customer experience?
Yeah, I started off by saying, here comes the sales guy, and here's the sales guy getting ready to piss off every salesperson across the CPaaS sales ecosystem. And what I'm about to say is going to be kind of contradictory to what your typical salesperson would walk in and say, and that is to start small. There's no reason to come in and rip out everything that you currently have. We just talked about customer experience, and that should be at the forefront of everything that you do when it comes to creating a communication strategy. So my suggestion is to start small. Take a look at what needs to be virtualized, what is it that already works, what needs to be improved upon, and then what channels are needed for the future. Once you have that definite or that really defined communication platform solution built for your organization, then you can align your internal resources and your external resources. Well, I'd love to say that CPaaS is, for those that don't have a communications platform in place, CPaaS is very easy to deploy. For those that already have something in place, you really do need to focus on that customer experience and look at what solution do I have in place, and then how can I migrate this over? And the best way to do that is to start into small increments of that deployment to ensure that you're crafting a customer experience that you want your business to be known for. So start small, develop your external and internal resources that are needed in order to make sure that the deployment goes how you want it to go, and keep customer experience in mind. And remember, as I said before, it's not just about your external customers, it's about your internal customers as well, those that are helping keeping your business running. So when you're doing these deployments, take a look across the ecosystem, across the silos as it would be in some organizations, and make sure that the deployment of your CPaaS solution will interact with whatever platforms that you have in place across your organization. For those that are in a situation where they have the opportunity to go from new to something larger, still make sure you start small test base, get it going, and once you have everything built, then start to scale it up. That's the beauty of CPaaS, is that you can start with these smaller deployments and then scale it and ramp it up and integrate new modalities for communicating with your customer base, and creating this seamless communications ecosystem for your customers. Like I said, both internal and external. And I know Rohit deals a lot with how to make that happen from an integration perspective. So I'll kick it over to him to talk a little bit about what that looks like from a configurability perspective. Those large words always get us salespeople. Let him talk a little bit more about that.
No, I think that's a fair point, Kris. Look, as from a product perspective, again, there are a few things that, much like you said, you are going to make salespeople all over a little bit uncomfortable with the whole thing of like, don't start small, right? And I think that's an important element of scalability, right? Like that needs to be that. So from a CPaaS strategy, I think when I look at it from a product perspective, we need to make sure that our APIs and our services meet that demand that you just mentioned, that it needs to scale, right? And I mean, to put it in perspective, just last Thanksgiving, on the weekend of Thanksgiving, the Black Friday, our APIs had over 1.8 billion calls that we had to manage, right, in a very short period of time, right? And I think that's just the idea of ramp up and ramp down that one needs to design their services for. And then the other part that I always bring in from my background in enterprise software is, and I'll probably say something that enterprise software providers like us may not like, which is that our customers work and will continue to always work in heterogeneous technology environments, right? It is a big mistake, right, for any technology providers or CPaaS providers like us as SAP Digital Interconnect or anybody else to assume that they will always be all on perfect one technology stack, right, or one software stack. They will not, right? And we have to embrace that heterogeneity, right, in that corporate technology environment and make sure that our APIs are fitting well in there, right? Like, and they're able to address those integration needs. And what it means is that SAP Digital Interconnect APIs, of course, have to connect seamlessly with SAP Marketing Cloud, with SuccessFactors, with Concur. But then we also have to make sure that we are connecting just as well with other providers of similar services, because our charter is providing that seamless connectivity experience, right? And I think that's just important. That's important for me to recognize in this. I don't know, Pekka, what's your take on it, especially when you look at it from a customer service and a contact center point of view?
Yeah, very good question. So I agree with the sales guy. First of all, start small and then scale up, whether it's related to number of users or number of features you want to experiment with. So basically following the same philosophy that, okay, you have a POC, then you have a pilot, and then you have a big bang, or you gradually ramp up your services. So that's definitely agree with that approach. With contact centers, you typically want to first evaluate whether you want to take the Lego blocks and the APIs and build your own solution, or whether you want to take something that is already end-to-end capable and then perhaps extend it for your use cases. So that's definitely something that where I would start with, and then think about the ramping up. What are the features? How do I ramp up the different and increase the complexity of the features? And then also what comes to the where do I want to run the POC? Where do I want to run the pilot? And where do I start the rollout? Because at the end of the day, with these kind of cloud technologies, you can start it anywhere. It doesn't matter where your people are located. Especially like mentioned before, during these times, it's very relevant. So there is not, okay, we pick these 10 seats in this factory type of facility, which is called our contact center, and then we mark them with red sign, and that's where the POC happens. No, I mean, the people can be located anywhere, and it's basically a web browser and a headset like what we are wearing, at least me and Rohit are wearing. Sales guys always have something more fancy. So so that's I mean, the easiness of and the flexibility of doing these things in a gradual manner, and then figuring out what is relevant for your use case and how to extend that use case.
Great, thanks, Pekka. And I want to talk about use cases for a moment and how we kind of use the technology to address those use cases. So, Rohit, how does SAP Digital Interconnect address this space with your technology? And talk us through kind of the common use cases and challenges that you're helping to solve with your technology.
Yeah, I think, look, it's for us, the way we look at, and this is how we look at our product portfolio and activities, which is like, it consists of three distinct layers, right? Like at the foundation is, of course, the networking or the connectivity layer. And this is where, with our messaging hubs, we connect mobile operators globally, and we provide that reach to enterprises, right? And so that, and having that global reach and connectivity, and of course, there is an element of service that we provide, which is, at times we don't even charge for it, but I think it's extremely important, is for enterprises to realize, especially as they venture out in this world of communications and engagement, is that there are regulations that apply, right? And these regulations vary not only by geography, but then at times within countries in the same geography. And I think our teams advise our enterprise customers on how to best approach certain channels, right? And of course, backed by business logic as well, which is the most economical channel, which is the most effective channel, and those kind of decisions. And then building on top of that networking layer is our APIs, right? Like, and these are APIs that help businesses, provide connectivity into their applications, and then also things like authentication, things like more recipient opt-in, opt-out, managing mobile campaigns, and then finally on top of it are end-to-end solutions, which are like, for example, care of employees in these times, for example, which is our People Connect solution, People Connect 365, or other end-to-end solutions for IoT, like the IoT Connect solution that we have. And then finally, the one that Pekka has been talking a lot more about, it's the contact center solution.
Great.
Yes.
Yeah, tell us more about
that. Yes. So maybe I should leave the sales pitch to the sales guy. Now I'm nagging on Kris all the time.
I go for it,
but the basic idea, like Rohit was explaining, is that yes, you can use the building blocks, you can consume the APIs, but what we have done also is that we are drinking our own champagne, so we are also consuming those APIs and building these end-to-end solutions on top of the platform and the programmable channels. And like mentioned, so one of them is, in particularly for this customer experience space, is the SAP Contact Center 365, which is a public cloud offering, providing full featured end-to-end tools to route, handle, and track all these omni-channel customer engagements across what I discussed earlier, across these different locations, teams, whether it's front office, back office. So that's basically the end-to-end solution that we have in our bag in the context of customer experience. But maybe Kris has or intriguing examples from industries in this space.
I'm gonna promise not to do what sales guy does and drop products as I talk. So I'm gonna try to avoid all of the product names in this. But really, what I think my responsibility is in addressing this for SAP Digital Interconnect is to develop expertise across verticals. So what we've really done is focus on looking at communication strategies inside of retail, e-commerce, utility, and banking customers. To really figure out what it is that they're using their communications platforms for and what they're seeing from a continuous evolution perspective inside of those particular verticals. Reason being is that they tend to be more, from a verticalization perspective, more interactive with their customers in various modalities. And what we found is that by focusing and concentrating our efforts there, that we can be extensible to other verticals. I think one of the unique things about CPaaS and about the other platforms that we've been talking about is it's one of those products that's truly ubiquitous in its application. There isn't a business that's out there, which makes it really exciting for obviously salespeople and those in the CPaaS space like SAP Digital Interconnect. But there isn't a business that's out there that can't benefit from or won't benefit from having a really well-built communication strategy, leveraging the various channels that are out there for their customers to interact with them with. And so for us, my responsibility, my team's responsibility is to make sure that we're the experts inside of what we're seeing from a verticalization perspective. So that way we can take it and morph it into other conversations for those that may not necessarily reside in a particular vertical that we've concentrated on. But we're really it's all about developing that expertise so that way we can have really holistic conversations on how to transform a business communication platform.
Thanks, Kris. And for anyone looking for more information or to get in touch with the SAP Digital Interconnect team, what's the best way forward?
Yeah, we have a fantastic site. It's community.sapdigitalinterconnect.com. And there'll be a link, I'm sure, below. So look for it that way so I don't have to spell all of that out. But that'll give you access to our forums. It'll give you access to product pages. It'll also give you access to free trials for both the contact center solution that we've talked about, as well as People Connect that Rohit had mentioned, as well as a host of other methodologies for communicating with your customers. So community.sapdigitalinterconnect.com, and that's where you can get a hold of us at.
Perfect. Thank you. Hey, it's been great to see you today, and thanks for sharing some great insights with us. Thanks to everyone for watching, and if you've enjoyed today's session, please do give us a quick like or a share on social. It's always very much appreciated. But thanks for watching, and thanks to everyone for getting involved.